Hi, I have been looking into a concept in the Legend of Zelda for the past week now, and in this video, I wish to explain the concept of the Kokiri and Koroks. This video will be split into two parts. The first half are facts, and the second half are theories. A specific user on Reddit summed up the forest children really well. They explain the core factor of these forest spirits while still stating some theories that we will get into later. The first thing I want to explain is that the Kokiri and Koroks are one and the same. The Koroks evolved from the Kokiri because of the Great Flood that occurred after Ocarina of Time. As for their origins, the Kokiri began as regular Hylians. It was only until after Skyward Sword that they approached the Great Deku Tree asking for a fresh start. These Hylians became the Kokiri and were blessed with eternal youth. On that topic, let's talk about the Great Deku Tree. The tree serves as the Faron region's guardian spirit and could possibly be the protector of Hyrule itself, although I believe that role goes to Kayapora, the owl. The Deku Tree makes his first appearance in Ocarina of Time, where he holds the Kokiri's emerald. In Wind Waker, the Deku Tree serves as protector of the Koroks, and in Breath of the Wild, the Deku Tree watches over the Master Sword. One thing to note is that these trees are not all the same trees. In fact, the Deku Tree in Wind Waker is the Deku Tree sprout from Ocarina of Time. Now, back to the Koroks, they only make an appearance in the adult timeline. So, this begs the question, where are they in the other two timelines? Well, because the Great Flood only happens in the adult timeline, the Koroks would still be Kokiri in the other two, but the Kokiri don't even get to appear in the other two timelines either. There are two theories on what actually happened to them, but first we need to talk about the Lost Woods. The Lost Woods is a forest in the Faron region. Its name implies everything. People do definitely get lost in these woods, but they don't just get lost. They die and turn into Stalfos. If a child happens to go in the Lost Woods, they will become a Skull Kid, but the Kokiri are immune to this. It turns out that anyone with a fairy companion is immune to the power of the Lost Woods. It's unclear why these woods are dangerous in the first place, but I suspect it was something to do with the Deku Tree. A creator named Monster Maze made a great video explaining this curse. He states that the Deku Tree intends to lie to the Kokiri to keep them safe from the outside world. Since the Kokiri are children, it is easy for them to die when they are not under the protection of the Deku Tree. This is why the Deku Tree intends to feed them lies so they don't leave the Faron region. The Deku Tree lies about a few things, but I want to focus on one lie specifically. He says that when the Kokiri leave the forest, they die. This is a lie made by the Deku Tree to prevent the Kokiri from leaving. The Lost Wood Curse could also be one of these lies to stop people from entering. With this, we can theorize about what happens to the forest children and the Deku Tree in the other two timelines. A theory stated by this Reddit post explains that in the child timeline specifically, the Deku Tree dies and the sprout never grows. This means the Kokiri are no longer subject to the Deku Tree's magic. The only point that is speculative is that the user says that the Kokiri lose their magic and grow up when the Deku Tree is absent. This is completely possible, but the only contradiction is that the Deku Tree is also absent for 7 years in Ocarina of Time, but the Kokiri don't grow. The only thing that changes is that there are monsters roaming the Faron region. I suspect that whatever the Deku Tree was doing in his life was keeping the monsters away from the Kokiri forest. I don't think the Kokiri became the Ordonians in Twilight Princess, because we haven't seen the Kokiri grow, even without the Deku Tree. Another theory states that the Kokiri became monkeys. Although much like the first theory, we don't see this happen in Ocarina of Time. I think the most plausible theory, probably the saddest one, but I truly think they either died or moved further in the forest. Without the Deku Tree, the Kokiri are defenseless and probably still believe they cannot leave the woods. In an interview, it was confirmed that the Kokiri can die of old age. While they can't age, they do have a limit to their life. The Deku Tree is the spirit giving them their life. This means that when the Kokiri do eventually die, there will be no Deku Tree to make new Kokiri. This is why we only see Koroks in Breath of the Wild. Following the Dragon Break theory that was popularized by Thinking at Max volume, we can assume that the Kokiri sadly died in both Child and Downfall timeline, as we don't see them ever again. Well then, that will conclude this video. I hope you enjoyed and have a good day.